The night was calm in Berlin, but the quiet didn't last long. A deep, thunderous roar echoed through the streets, the kind of sound that made people stop, turn, and search for its source. That roar belonged to none other than the Mercedes Maybach Excelero, a car so rare, so extraordinary that it almost looked unreal as it slid smoothly under the city lights. For most people, the Excelero was a myth, a one-off masterpiece, built not for the masses, but as a symbol of what happens when engineering genius and artistic ambition collide. Only a handful of lucky eyes had ever seen it in person, and tonight, it was about to leave yet another mark on the imagination of those who caught even a glimpse of it. The Excelero's body gleamed black like polished obsidian. Its long hood stretched forward with dominance, while its sleek roofline flowed backward into a coupe shape that was as elegant as it was menacing. From every angle, the car looked like a predator on wheels. Low, wide, and absolutely commanding. Even parked, the Excelero carried a presence that demanded respect. But what truly defined the Maybach Excelero wasn't just the way it looked. It was what lay hidden beneath its hood. When the latch was released and the engine bay was revealed, it was like staring at the beating heart of a myth. Inside sat a twin-turbocharged 5.9-liter V12 engine, engineered to perfection, surrounded by chrome accents and carbon fiber touches that reminded you this was not just any luxury car. The bay wasn't cramped or messy. It was artfully arranged. Every pipe, bolt, and wire placed with precision. Looking at it, you could almost feel the power waiting to be unleashed. This was no ordinary V12. With 700 horsepower and an astonishing 752 lb-ft of torque, the Excelero could sprint from 0 to 60 mph in just over 4 seconds. For a car weighing nearly 2.7 tons, those numbers were almost impossible to comprehend. Yet Maybach had done it. The Excelero wasn't just built to be beautiful. It was built to prove that a car of such size and weight could still perform like a true supercar. The story of its creation was just as fascinating as the machine itself. Back in 2005, a German tire manufacturer named Fulda wanted to test their new line of high-performance tires. But they needed something extraordinary, something powerful enough to push the tires to their limits. Maybach stepped in, accepting the challenge to build a car that wasn't just fast, but iconic. And so the Excelero was born, a one-off masterpiece built for both speed and spectacle. When Adam, a passionate car collector, first laid eyes on the Excelero, he couldn't believe it was real. Standing in front of it, he ran his hand gently over the smooth black paint, noticing how the reflections of light moved seamlessly across its curves. It was massive yet refined, aggressive yet elegant. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Slipping inside the cabin was like entering another world. The interior was a blend of luxury and sport, wrapped in leather, aluminum, and carbon fiber. The seats were sculpted to hold the driver firmly in place, while the dashboard carried the unmistakable aura of Maybach craftsmanship. Every detail, from the stitching on the seats to the polished dials, reminded Adam that this was no ordinary car. This was something created with obsession. With the key turned, the engine came alive. The V12 growled, low and menacing, before settling into a confident rumble. Adam felt the vibration through the steering wheel, a reminder of the raw power at his fingertips. Slowly, he pulled the Excelero onto the empty highway. The moment he pressed the accelerator, the world blurred. The car surged forward with brutal force, the twin-turbo V12 responding instantly. The tires gripped the tarmac tightly, channeling all that power into unstoppable momentum. At 100 kilometers per hour, the Excelero felt calm, almost relaxed. At 200, it still felt stable, like it was cruising at a fraction of its capability. And when Adam dared to push it beyond 300, the car didn't scream in protest. It roared with pride, as if telling him this was exactly what it was built for. The Excelero wasn't just about speed, it was about presence. Driving it through the city the next day, Adam noticed heads turning, phones coming out, and people pointing in disbelief. The car's design was so striking, so rare, that even those who knew nothing about automobiles could sense its importance. Some whispered Maybach, while others just stared in silence, knowing instinctively that they were looking at something they might never see again. What made the Excelero even more legendary was its exclusivity. Unlike other supercars, which had at least a handful of models on the road, this one was unique. A true one-off? Owning it wasn't just about wealth. It was about possessing a piece of history, a car that represented the pinnacle of automotive ambition in its era. For Adam, the car became more than a machine. It became a story, a symbol, and an experience. Each time he lifted the hood to admire the engine bay, he felt a connection to the engineers who had crafted it, the designers who had sculpted it, and the visionaries who believed in making something so extravagant possible. He realized the Maybach Excelero wasn't simply built for the road. It was built to inspire. It was proof that cars could be more than transport. They could be art. Power and emotion combined into one. Even standing still with the hood open and the engine bay gleaming under the light, the Excelero looked alive, like a beast waiting for the command to unleash its fury once again. And perhaps that was the true magic of the Excelero, not just its 700 horsepower, not just its V12 twin-turbo engine, not even its breathtaking design, but the way it made people feel. For those who saw it, it was unforgettable. For those who drove, the Mercedes Maybach Excelero was and still is a legend.